I want you to picture a scenario. It's, say, a Tuesday afternoon. You are about 5 minutes from a deadline, and you're rushing to send a quick email.
We've all been there.
Or maybe you're just about to post a photo on Instagram, and you're thumbing out a caption as fast as you can. Your brain is totally focused on speed and, let's be honest, maybe a little on aesthetics.
Right. Does it look good? That's the default mode for almost all of us. You just want the message out.
Exactly. But here's the question for our deep dive today. In that rush, have you ever stopped to think that the font you just picked, or the way you typed that hashtag, might actually be building a wall?
A literal digital wall. It's a sobering thought, isn't it?
It is. A wall between you and a friend or a colleague who's visually impaired.
We think of accessibility as, ramps and elevators, but we build these little barriers with our keyboards every single day.
So today, we're going to try and dismantle those barriers. We're diving into a really practical source. It's called Guidelines How to Communicate with Visually Impaired from the Elevate Project.
Right, and ELEVATE is an acronym. It stands for Enhancing Life Effectively for the Visually Impaired with Affordable Assistive Tools and Empowerment.
It's an Erasmus Plus project funded by the EU.
Yeah.
And what I really appreciate about it is that it moves way past that theoretical, just be nice advice. It's basically a technical manual for independence. It argues that clear communication isn't a favor. It's about enabling autonomy.
That is the key distinction. We aren't talking about charity here. We are talking about participation.
If a document is formatted correctly, a visually impaired person can use it on their own.
Exactly. If it's not, they're forced to ask for help, and that's the barrier.
And, as we went through this, I had a selfish thought. If you follow these rules, you actually just become a better communicator for everyone.
Absolutely. The principles of accessibility, clarity, structure, simplicity, they're the exact same principles as good design. You design for the margins, you improve the experience for the center.
So let's get into the tactical stuff. We'll start with the digital bedrock. Documents, fonts, and structure. Now, I'm a bit of a typography nerd, but the guide opens with a font I had never heard of. It's called Luciole.
Yes, Luciole, which is French for firefly. It's fascinating. It was developed in 2019 specifically for the visually impaired community.
What makes it so different from, say, Arial?
It's all in the architecture of the letters. They tweaked the spacing, the shapes. They made sure an uppercase I doesn't look like a lowercase all, that kind of thing.
So for a PDF or a printout, something static, it's the gold standard.
It's the gold standard. But, and this is a huge but.
Yes, this is the part I thought was so interesting.
The guide says if you are sending an editable file, like a Word doc, you should avoid it.
Why?
Well, because it's a specialized font. Most people do not have it installed.
So if I send a Word doc in Lucille to my boss,
her computer is going to basically panic and substitute it. It might swap it for something totally unreadable, and the spacing will go haywire.
Ah, okay. So for editable files, what's the recommendation?
Stick to the classics, specifically Verdana.
Verdana. It feels so 90s.
It is, but it's a workhorse. It has generous spacing, it's sans serif, and crucially, it's on almost every machine in existence. It's safe.
What you see is what they get.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's fonts. Now, structure. I have a confession.
Uh-oh.
For years, when I wanted a heading in a document, I'd just highlight the text, hit bold, maybe bump the font size up to 14, and that's it.
You and 99% of the population, visually that works. We look at it and our brain says, okay, new section.
But digitally, for a screen reader.
Digitally, it's invisible. A screen reader doesn't look for big letters. It looks for code tags. If you don't use the actual heading 1 or heading 2 styles in Word, the software just sees a flat wall of text.
So it's like trying to navigate a textbook with no table of contents, just bold sentences randomly thrown in.
That's a perfect analogy. Screen reader users rely on those heading tags to skim. They can jump from heading 1 to heading 2 to get the layout of the document.
Without that, they have to listen to the whole thing linearly just to find one piece of information.
Which is incredibly inefficient. So using styles isn't just a formatting quirk, it's a navigation map.
Speaking of navigation, we have to talk about hyperlinks. The guide comes down so hard on the phrase, click here.
Click here is one of the worst offenders in accessibility.
But it's everywhere. Click here for the report.
Imagine you're using a tool that just lists all the links on a page. If that list just says, click here, click here, click here, you have zero context. You don't know where any of them go.
You're basically playing internet Russian roulette.
You are. The fix is so simple. Just use descriptive hyperlinks. So instead of click here to read the report, you just hyperlink the actual words, read the report.
It's just cleaner writing anyway, isn't it?
It really is.
Okay, let's pivot from Word to the joyful world of data,
Yeah.
Excel.
Everyone's favorite.
If Word is tricky, I feel like spreadsheets would be a complete nightmare for a screen reader.
The grid format is inherently visual, yes. But the guide has a few tweaks that make a huge difference. Like, for one, just renaming your tabs.
Because Sheet 1 and Sheet 2 tell you nothing.
Nothing. A screen reader announces Sheet 1, and you have no idea if that's the budget, the roster, or the lunch order. Renaming them Budget 2024 gives immediate orientation.
And there was another Excel tip that I found really clever. Hiding the empty rows and columns.
This is about creating boundaries. Imagine being in a huge, empty warehouse in the dark.
Okay.
You're feeling your way around looking for a box. If that warehouse is infinite, you might just keep walking forever. By hiding the unused parts of the spreadsheet, you're building walls around the data.
So you're stopping the user from just scrolling off into nothingness?
Precisely. The software hits the edge and stops. It says there is nothing else here. It saves them from navigating thousands of empty cells.
That's so thoughtful. It's respectful of their time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move to presentations PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm.
The guide has a 32-point rule for text size, which I love because it forces you to stop writing novels on your slides.
Which is just good advice for any presentation, really.
Right. But the concept that really stuck with me was what they called the radio analogy.
This is the say it principle. You have to present as if some of your audience is just listening on the radio. You can't rely on visual cues.
So I can't just point at a graph and say, as you can see, the numbers are way up.
That's meaningless audio. The phrase, as you can see, is one you should just try to eliminate from your presentation vocabulary.
That's hard.
It is hard, but instead you say, if you look at the top right quadrant of the slide, you'll see the Q4 sales bar has doubled compared to Q3.
You have to describe the geography of the slide.
You ground them. You tell them where to look and what they're looking at. And honestly, this helps everyone. The person in the back, the person who blinked. Explicit communication just wins.
And I'm guessing those fancy swooshing animations are a no-go.
Avoid them like the plague.
Mm-hmm.
They're distracting and just confuse screen readers. Static and clear is always better.
Okay, I want to move to the section that I think will impact our listeners' daily habits the most.
Social media.
Yes, we are all scrolling, posting, reacting, and apparently we're doing a lot of it wrong.
We are. Especially with hashtags and emojis. They're often completely unintelligible to assistive tech.
Let's start with hashtags. I usually type them all lowercase. Hashtag best day ever. Seems easy to read.
To a human eye, yes. We can see the word breaks. But a screen reader just sees a long string of letters. It tries to pronounce it as one single word.
So it sounds like best day ever, like gibberish.
Exactly, total gibberish. The Elevate guide insists on what they call camel case.
So capitalizing the first letter of each word. Hashtag best day ever.
Yes. By doing that, you give the software a cue. It can distinguish the words. It reads it as best day ever.
You know, that's actually easier for sighted users to read too.
It creates clarity for everyone. It's just better.
Now the emoji thing, this is the part that really blew my mind. The sunny example.
Right. This is a classic trap. You want to type, "It is sunny today," but instead of the word sunny, you use the sun emoji.
So visually I see it is. Then the little sun icon, then today.
But the screen reader reads the code name for that icon. So it might say, "It is black sun with rays today," or just, "It is sun today."
It is sun today.
Yeah.
It turns the adjective into a noun. It sounds like a grammatical error.
It totally breaks the flow of the sentence, and that's a simple example. The rule is text first, emojis at the end, don't replace words.
And you have to limit them, right?
Oh, definitely. The screen reader reads the full description of every single one.
So my usual 3 laughing face emojis.
The user hears, "Face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy." It's not an emotion at that point. It's just spam.
Wow. Okay, so camel case, your hashtags, emojis at the end, and only 1. That feels doable. What about alt text?
Ah, yes. People know they should do it, but not what to write.
Right.
The guide clarifies this by saying what alt text is not. It's not for SEO keywords. It's not for photo credits. It's not for inside jokes.
It is purely descriptive.
Oh.
Functional.
Exactly. If it's a photo of a dog, the alt text isn't hashtag cute a dog, hashtag viral. It's a golden retriever catching a red frisbee in a park. You're painting a picture.
Okay, let's talk about video. TikTok, Reels, YouTube. It's everywhere.
Mm.
The guide distinguishes between audio described and audio-led content.
Which is a really helpful distinction for creators. Audio described is usually a retrofit, an add-on. You make a video, then you add a narrator track that explains what's happening in the silent parts.
A man walks his dog down the lane.
Right. But audio-led is a design choice from the very beginning. It means the creator's own audio carries the whole story.
So a vlogger saying, okay, I'm standing here in front of this weird blue statue, they're doing the work naturally.
They aren't just showing, they're describing.
Yeah.
And that makes the video more engaging for everyone, whether you're watching it or just listening with your phone in your pocket.
That's a great point. And what about subtitles? The guide is really adamant. Do not burn them in.
Burning in means the text is part of the video file itself. You can't turn it off or change it.
I see that all the time on social media. Why is that a problem?
Because the user loses all control.
Hmm.
If you use the platform's own captioning tools, the user can often adjust the size, the color, the contrast to fit their needs.
So maybe they need yellow text on black, but you burned in white text.
Exactly. You're forcing your design choices on them. Using the platform's tools lets them customize their own experience.
Which brings us back to that core theme of control and independence.
It does.
And that transitions us perfectly to the last section, the physical world. The guide doesn't just stop at our screens.
This is where people can feel the most awkward. They want to help, but they're afraid of doing it wrong.
It talks about sighted guidance.
And the key word there is partnership. You're not dragging someone, you're offering an arm as a guide. But the part about the physical world that really hit me was about organization, the golden rule of tidiness.
This felt profound. It's something we argue with roommates about. But here, the stakes are so much higher.
In a shared space, for a visually impaired person, consistency is safety. They build a mental map of a room. The table is here, the chair is there. If you move that chair 2 feet to the left without saying anything,
That chair isn't furniture anymore. It's an obstacle.
it's a tripping hazard. It's dangerous. Moving a water glass, a backpack. It's not about being messy, it's about predictability.
So the rule is, don't rearrange without communicating.
That's it. If you move something, you say something. Hey, I moved the chair to the corner. You restore their mental map. You preserve that independence we talked about at the very beginning.
You know, the through line here, whether we're talking about a hashtag or a chair, it seems to be all about removing ambiguity.
It's about being intentional. When you communicate carelessly, you're relying on the other person to bridge the gap. When you communicate accessibly, you build the bridge yourself.
So to wrap this up, key takeaways. For documents, structure is for machines, not just eyes. Use real headings.
And use standard fonts like Verdana if it's an editable file. For data and presentations, simplicity wins. Narrate your slides like it's a radio show.
And for social media, the thing we're all going to do in 5 minutes, capitalize your hashtags, hashtag like this, put your one emoji at the end, and never ever replace a word with a symbol.
These are such small habits. None of this takes a lot of time, but altogether, they change the internet from a walled garden into an open square.
I want to leave you with a thought today. The next time you are about to hit post or send, just take that extra 2 seconds and ask yourself, are you adding personality or are you accidentally building a barrier?
Because there's a whole audience out there that wants to engage with you, if you just let them in. The source material points to the website, tactiles.eu.
It's a great resource for understanding how to make design more inclusive.
That is all for today's deep dive. We will catch you next time with more insights. Thanks for listening.
Co-funded by the European Union. The European Union's support for the production of this publication does not constitute endorsement of the contents which reflects the views only of the authors, and the European Union cannot be held responsible for any use which may be made of the information contained therein.